All right. So sorry about that. Welcome back to part two of the Silent Podcast. We were having a few technical difficulties, but we should be good now. If you were following us on the other link, it might have ended weird. So we're just going to pick back up where Sean's hives took us out. The supervillain Jason, they got us. So wanted to make sure your thoughts about that got heard.
When I heard Carla describe him as a superhero villain, I realized that Mephisto is confirmed. Not only is he taking over WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, he's in Survivor South Africa.
Period. Like, he really tried
Watch
to get
out.
us, man. Oh my God. So sorry, everyone. We're now going to head to the immunity challenge where I will say this is also an Indian saying where Marisha says, Nico says to Marisha, looks like a cat that got its cream. So I've definitely heard that too. Must be like a British colonizer moment. Who knows? But Chappies, oh my God. Don't you want him on your team when you need a spin? Because what a way to spin that loss right there.
Not only was he spinning the loss, he was spinning those blocks. This dude ran out there and was pushing them. They must have been 6 feet by 6 feet, weighing more than I do. He is flipping them faster than anyone else. So good for Chappies. I also want to point out early in this challenge, I was impressed that he was doing so well. He's not doing so well as the challenge goes on, but at this point, I was like, wow, I'd love him to have him on my team. And I did notice that Anella and Paul, the strategy for this is you run into this field and you roll the blocks back to build a puzzle. But Paul and Smash ran out to the farthest block and they picked it up and carried it back 50 feet. This was Paul's only positive contribution to the episode. He did do something right. But not for long.
Yeah, agreed.
It was nuts.
And Santony was helping Chappies, but I think he didn't need the help. Like he was doing really well. And then, unfortunately, the Santony and Varda, they just couldn't make it. Another reason why you want Chappies on the team. I think having Sean in that moment would have also really helped. So here we go. What can you do? And then we get, it's pretty even. Obviously, Santony and Varda not being able to go through as quick, put Zamba at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I feel like it was still pretty okay when they got to the stacking. And that's when it all went to hell, Jason. As people that are pretty competitive, how frustrated were you just watching it? And I know you have some stats for us, so I need to hear all of this.
I was very frustrated watching this because they have the Zamba tribe, who ended up losing, has a lot of physical competitors. They have a lot of strategic minds, people that probably play a lot of puzzle apps on their phone. They knew what to do. And it was like, who can yell the loudest? That was their approach to this challenge. And I think they really were negatively impacted by Sean sitting out. Even though Chappies downplayed his ability later on in the episode, I think Sean has a lot of composure and he's a great communicator. And he would have heard the feedback and made Chappies listen to it, made Chappies hear what Varda was saying and what Santony was saying.
Yes.
Because there were, count them, 10 times that the women suggested feedback to Paul and Chappies that they just ignored.
10 times that we saw. That means it's probably at least 20. Let's be honest. And not even that. Santony was trying to help, was in the mix, gets knocked out, basically. So even if a woman was trying to help, look what happened.
And they didn't ask her if she was okay.
No, they didn't even bat. Nico was like, "Are you what happened?" And she fell pretty bad. Granted, they maybe didn't see it, but have a heart, man. And basically, it was as soon as Anthony got hit, the girls kind of walked away and moved back. And basically, since that moment, they were still trying to tell them, "Hey, you need to do the bright red part. You need to do this. You need to this." Refuse. Basically, it was they didn't exist. It was like a wall that came up. Speaking of WandaVision, right? The dome just showed up for Paul and Chappies.
Something else I noticed during this challenge, and they showed them a few times, were Sean and Inesu and Thurizo on the sit-out bench.
Mm-hmm.
We call it in the U.S. Sandra's bench. I thought they were forming a good alliance, and I was just waiting on the edge of my seat for one of them to look under that bench for a clue to an advantage or an immunity island. Exactly. And like I'm sure there was something there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think especially 3 people being there, it's called the show, like the season is called Immunity Island. Like, come on.
And it would have created a cross-tribal alliance, having to share a secret. So, you know, I just wish for the best. I want to see the chaos. I want to see alliances and twists. And
those
they
3
happen
people,
some of the time.
And those 3 people are very not Sean, sorry. The other 2 are very least likely to find an idol, like in Survivor. So I think again that would have been amazing. Statistically, yeah. So I think the 3 or the 2 of them, especially Anisu and Thurizo, would have been amazing to win. And I think Sean would have probably even let them have it because it was 2-1. And just like been a great ally to them. And another, you know, it would have been another point for Anisu, where she would have, you know, had another ally now, right? Speaking for her. And you know, at the end we did see like Chappies, I think, almost start listening to the girls, but it was like a little too late. Like, you tried it, sir. No. And then we get Carla to immunity. This is where the gameplay is again. Wow, Carla. Wow.
Did you hear, before we get to Immunity Island, Warda's confession where she says, no one listened to the girls?
Yes.
If they listened to us, we would have won.
Yep. 100%.
I'm only bringing that up because I love seeing Warda on the screen. I really like her as a player, and I'm happy they're giving her screen time because we didn't see anything from her last week.
That's what I was going to say.
So it stood out to me this week.
Yeah, and last week you even spoke about that, right? Like, she dropped on your threat list, or even from your threat list, because where was Warda? And I think now a lot of people in US shows are very much like, well, I'm feeling these things, but I don't want to say them, or I want to be the person that kind of, you know, rocks the boat in the same way, versus like Warda was like, I'm at the bottom. You're probably going to vote me out. So you know what? Let's do this thing. Yeah. Why not? So again, loved it. And I think even Amy and Carla were like, they just didn't listen to us. They didn't listen to us. So I think they were immediately frustrated because it's almost like why were they even there?
Exactly.
Yeah. And if anyone, I definitely push you to go watch Paul's exit interview, because he actually has the exact opposite take on it, where he said, I do everything. The men do everything. The women just kind of sit around. What do they do? Cook. I can cook too. So he sees it as like they just weren't helping. And we were just, you know, carrying the blocks. Like, we're very much the brawn way, but you needed the brain, right? And you needed that moment, and they just didn't use it.
And then we're at Immunity Island. And this is when I noticed, shout out Carla with her pink little bee hat that I tweeted as I saw this in real time. I wonder if Carla's a Boston Red Sox fan or she just loves Boston Rob. And not 30 minutes later, she responded to me saying Boston Rob, and that she wore that hat on purpose and had to be pink on purpose so it would be subtle, and wanted to see who noticed it, and so she could work with other fans. Yep. And that just stood out to me, that Carla is a fan in the first place, which I did not know. So respect. And that she thought that much about her outfit on the show, that she could send an item of clothing to use it to build alliances. Very few people think of that type of strategy. And I do think, sorry, go.
No, and it's the fact that it's so subtle equals that she's attracting someone that's just as, you know, subtle, or probably as like stealth as her. I wonder if Mike noticed it. Is that why they got so close?
And like, I wonder if Rainier's noticed it and he wants to make like a secret gangster alliance with her. I do want to say though, if that happened in US Survivor, it would have made her a target from day one, because that little bee hat is synonymous with Boston Rob, for those of you who don't know. And so anyone that saw that would know they're wanting to emulate his game. But I think having it be a pink bee on a pink hat, from her, it's unexpected, and it's in another country. So maybe not everyone knows who. Not everyone's read the BR rulebook. So I'm just so impressed with her, and that she's able to do that under the radar, and that production let her. because
Mhm.
they could have easily said, no, send us another hat.
Yeah. No, and production probably loved that too, especially if you hear her reasoning, you're like, "Oh, definitely
Yeah.
this is going on." The show because what can come out of it. Like, it's so cool. And not even that. Yeah, like I said, attract someone just as subtle as you, immediately can get something going, hopefully, for you. So, I think it's genius and I hope again other players from future like really look at it.
What did you think of her decision, though, to give and go?
Oh my god. I just think she played at the end like reward is correct and she did the right move. I want to
Yeah.
make that clear. But it's more I don't know that it's so that her gameplay is amazing. It's really that the other side was dumb and split the vote and counted their chickens before they hatched. So I don't know that it's an amazing play, especially because
Mhm.
I think she thought her alliance or her relationship with Santini was better than it was. So she could have really screwed herself.
I
And
agree, and it's
Warda.
interesting to hear you say that because I was just about to say I think I credit Santini for giving Carla the
Mhm.
confidence to know they were voting together before the
Yes.
challenge. And I don't know. I would love to hear from Santini. Was her intention true when they made that alliance, or was it just hyping up Carla and Warda, knowing one of them is going to be sent to Immunity Island, wanting to gain their loyalty so they give and go,
Yep.
or yeah, give up and go,
Give up and go. Yeah.
and come back to the tribe without an idol.
Mhm.
So I was just very impressed with Carla and her ability to think about the different options and also stay loyal to her ally, because if she took that idol, Warda was probably going home.
Yeah, 100%. Because they wouldn't have a vote, and then somehow I think the other side could have figured it out. I still,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that was painful. It was very painful to what like tribal was, just with like silly gameplay. But before we get to tribal, Carla comes back pretty fast. But before that, Anil actually tells Paul, I think it's you. I don't know. Like it wasn't
If
straight away, but it was like, bro, it's you. You're going.
Sean might flip, if you have an idol and you're nervous, I would recommend playing it.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh.
Noah.
And then another tells Santini. Oh my god. That this like I said, survive like you can't be this kind in Survivor. Like it's not at least it's not fun. Maybe it'll get you far, but it's not fun to watch.
I am very surprised by Anella's gameplay this early
Mm-hmm.
on, being so loyal to people that are clearly the biggest targets and
And it's a
outcasts in your
sinking
tribe.
ship.
It's a
Yeah.
sinking ship, and it's only day 11. If it's not like it's day 35 and he like
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to write his name down. And I would
Agreed.
just say, "Oh, you want to vote Paul? Get Paul out of here. Like, let me
Yeah.
show my loyalty to you instead of his throwaway vote."
Yeah.
Which
I will
I
say
really don't agree with that.
yeah.
Go.
I will say I'm trying to think, Anila and Paul, they're the only black men on the tribe. So I also would say that piece would be hard for me. Like if there was another, even
Mm-hmm.
if there was only one other person of color on the tribe with me.
That's a great
Actually,
point.
yeah, they are the only two people of color, right? Yeah, on that
Yeah.
tribe. I'm not sure about Carla, but I think besides Varda too, maybe.
Varda.
Yeah, actually, sorry. So yeah, basically, if we're the only two, if Kieran, let's say, was on the tribe with me and Kieran was going down, it'd be so hard for me to vote for Kieran because I'd be like, because we barely make it on the show, we barely make
Mm-hmm.
it far. So I think, yeah, it actually would be hard for me. So I don't know if that mattered to Anila, but I think it would matter to me in like my real life, to be like, I don't want to vote the only other Indian off the show. So that's the only saving grace I will say, because everything else is messy. And yeah.
I was just going to say, I agree with you 1,000% and want to thank you for sharing that perspective. And I wish that we would have seen Anella articulate that.
Yes.
And say, I know Paul is a sinking ship, but I have to vote with him. I can't vote against him because we are aligned and we have this other relationship. And I would have been okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would have made us all get a deeper appreciation for who he is as a person outside of the game. Not just who he is inside the game.
Exactly, because we actually get a confessional from him saying that I don't want to break my word. But I think it would have been interesting taking it, bringing that outside in and to really like say, here's like a little backstory and, like I can't do it. It's impossible. And I can't be required to do that, to my ally. And Santony, again, amazing. To him, she's like, I totally understand. It completely makes sense why you would feel that way, why you're thinking that. But then in a confessional, she's saying her true feelings where she's like, what is he talking about? Why is he doing this? Like exactly what we're saying.
Yeah.
So I would definitely, again, props to her because that's exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Where anytime you talk to the person, they are the hero and you have to make it seem like anything they say is correct and the way to go.
And even though we didn't really see it in this episode as much, Santony is doing a great job of that type of relationship with Chappies.
Yes.
She is boosting him up, making him think she'll do whatever he says. And as he said in this episode, they're going to confidently execute this plan flawlessly.
Yep.
This guy is like so full of confidence that everything is going to work. Bless his heart, because it's not working and he's still so confident. So I just like love that about him, that he's not letting his losses bring him down. Mm-hmm. He's just like waiting for the next card to flip his way.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like this is together, just like they are actually really great. I wish, or I hope rather, I should say what you're saying, Jason, at the start of the episode, where we hope that they do work together and that Santony's maybe keeping him for her. That's what we're going to hope. And then Carla comes back now. She says, I gave up food for no vote.
We've all read the note, Carla.
Oh my, like literally, I was like, am I in a Jersey Shore episode where Chappies is like reading, the Snooki and JWoww note? Because Chappies is like, here's what the rules are. And what's Carla saying? Oh, she really thinks that? Because 1 + 1 does not equal 3. And I literally wrote, oh no, Carla, the math isn't mathing.
But then Santony, shout out, goes to Carla and was like, oh, you got us. That was a great lie, girl.
Yeah. And then again, in the confessional, she says, Chappies knows. Chappies knows the damn note. So I know he knows. So I got to make sure that's cool. And then rightfully so, Chappies is telling Paul and Anila, like, y'all, she's lying. Like, this is not true. I've read the note. So again, it was actually not the worst lie, but like I said, production's going to out everything. Yeah. Why are you screwing yourself?
And I was on the edge of my seat watching the chaos unfold.
Yes.
Knowing when Carla said that lie, oh, just you wait. She took the Boston Rob hat off and made this terrible lie.
No, literally, it's like she went to Island of the Idols and Boston Rob gave her some, half-assed, like, oh, you gotta do this, man. And then she came back and really just went to, like, very sideways with it, like what Jamal did, right? Where he writes the whole fake note. And, like, I guess Dean does fall for it, but very much flops. Which I thought it was really funny. But I like Warda bought it. Warda was like, you made a really big sacrifice for me. Thank you so much. Like, wow. And then I think Santony liked it at the end of the day. Where Santony was like, okay, I think this girl's with us. That's all I need to know. Messy, but she's with us.
And like you said earlier, I love that they're showing us these scenes where the other players are laughing about someone's lie. Yeah. And they're just like cracking up. Like, she doesn't know we read the note. She thinks we believed that. As they did earlier with Amy's lie about the raid. Well, I got an advantage that said they might raid our camp. No one believed you.
Where was Tyson? Remember when was it? Yeah, Chappies came back with the diplomatic advantage. And then he said, what did he? Yeah, and then he said, no, that's all you got? You just got a box of Flint? There's no way that's all you got. So to me, this was very much that moment again. So, and Pappy said, you came back pretty quick. Can't you hide in the bushes or something? To be like, Other people usually take a little bit longer. I'm coming back pretty fast. So let me try to like wait in the bushes a little or something.
And something that disappointed me about this Immunity Island idol is that Carla had to leave it at Tribal. Knowing it was a decoy idol, I wish she could have hidden it at the camp.
Yes.
And planted it for someone else to find it, knowing it never had powers. But Nico doesn't play those games. He's like, this is what happened. Leave the idol on your seat.
Again, why? Right? Yeah, and we can quickly get to Tribal. Yeah, but basically the only other part I wanted to highlight was Santini said, no pairs, baby. Because she was like, Paul and Chappies, one's gone. Carla and Warda are next. And then Anila and Amy are the ones after. And then we can start playing the game. Queen shit, because my God, to like lay it out that easily and just kind of call it out. I loved it. I loved it so much.
And the other thing that stood out to me right before that was when Paul talked about their teamwork being brilliant.
Oh, yes.
And he was so confident. And if it wasn't for him, Anela wouldn't even be here.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
And that to me just showed how confident and arrogant and out of reality that Paul is. I don't know what beach he's on, but he has not seen the way things are going. And I was excited for him to hopefully get lowered a step at Tribal Council. But it happened.
Oh, God. Oh, I don't even know how to respond. Like, just bless his heart. Bless his heart. And then we get to Tribal, where Sean is pissed that he couldn't, he felt like because of him, he could have made it. He could have taken some step and helped the tribe, which I can definitely see. I think, again, we've seen him and Kian, and like, so that he can connect with people. So I think I do actually believe him that he could have made some magic happen. Yeah. And they always keep saying Paul and Chappies. They don't say Sean, Anila, and Paul and Chappies, right? So that is also, we need to remember that the two of them are very much not part of that like misogynistic like vibes going on.
And after they said that, how did you react when Chappies contradicted him and said, well, not necessarily would you have helped us?
Why wouldn't having an extra person help, an extra man, versus the other tribe got to get rid of two of their quote unquote weakest players, and one of your strongest players is sitting there. So of course it would have helped. That's ridiculous.
It really aggravated me that Chappies came at Sean that way, because Sean is a competitor. He has shown us all that he can compete in challenges, and having that other person that's level-headed and has composure helps no matter what the challenge is. Like, come on, Chappies.
Well, and the same thing, unfortunately, happened actually with what Chappies did with Marisha. So I think this is very much a pattern, unfortunately, where we're seeing him just kind of try to save his own ass, and in doing that, he's kind of throwing everyone else under the bus.
Yeah, as we'll see what happens next. And he says he approached this challenge physically.
Yes.
Thinking that would have made them win.
Yeah, and that's what goes to the next part, is that they were like, we wanted it to be physical and we thought we could just kind of beast it out. But then Warda says, no, there was a bit of misogyny actually going on here. The men just acted like we weren't there, which, like I said, that is exactly the right thing to say. You're at the bottom. What are you going to do by kissing butt, right? Like, you might as well be honest about what's going on with you, and at least it will take you somewhere.
And I was so disappointed with Chappie's response. He said, oh, well, then you should have took us aside and told us what you thought.
Let me do that while you're knocking Santini out. Like, I wish I could throw the box on their head. And like, honestly.
I don't know if you heard, as he was making those remarks, Carla said, when you watch it, you'll see we did.
Yes.
Living for Carla's comments. And I just want to also say, I think Chappies could have responded with, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was coming off that way.
Yep.
Let me improve next time. Thank you for telling me. Instead of telling them they were wrong. And he just approached the situation from such a wrong place that does not strengthen bonds or create alliances. All he did was burn bridges. And I don't know if he's going to be able to recover from them next week, because he didn't even seem to be aware that he had these misogynistic tendencies and
Yep.
was just denying them.
And it's interesting because he starts. So I actually started that bullet point with Chappies as being diplomatic because he starts with there might be some truth to this, and then it just goes downhill after that. So I really think like here's my PSA to men. Like it's okay to take a moment and take a step back and know that you maybe messed up and maybe your intention wasn't even that, but intention versus impact are very different things. And your impact was the women automatically felt that way. And I can tell you like so many times this has happened where as a woman, and I'm sure a lot of people maybe feel that way. Like put it in the comments if you have, but literally where you're just like, sitting back and be like, well, he's not going to listen. Like you've been there, done that. So to them, I want Chappies to understand that like, this is probably not the first time this has happened to them. So they, we can call it out pretty quickly. And Paul also says that he was stepping up and because Nico asked him actually a different question, but he said, I want to go back to that comment. But again, digging his grave a little deeper where he said, I'm always stepping up and doing everything. And it's unfair that we do everything. And Warda says no, but why would you say that? That's so dumb.
They were just digging their own grave. And I think especially when Chappie said, this is how you should have talked to me.
Yes.
I actually in that moment thought he might get voted out. Because of the language and the words he was choosing, it could have easily flipped. And I think he's very lucky that the vote didn't flip on him based on those comments and those words he used. Because like I said, that's not how you build alliances.
Yeah, and like what a great moment to build a relationship because that it's Paul or someone else. And then this is also where it gets frustrating because and I know it's because Carla said like Carla starts calling Paul and Chappies out. She's saying, why are you trusting these two? Day one they showed up on this island, they flipped and then Chappies actually rightfully so said, no, you started this, we're just
I like that.
So I like that part. So I think he should have pushed a little bit more, but he kept saying, you're in the minority, your vote's not needed. What a stupid thing to say. Like, honestly, even if why?
And many times in situations, it's better to say nothing at all and just let other people talk. And I think we saw examples of Santini doing that, of Amy doing that. They just let these other people argue, knowing the target wouldn't go onto them. So I want to shout that out. Because that's very hard to do. It is very hard to stay silent and not speak your mind when people are saying very misogynistic things and talking down to other people.
Oh my God. That's exactly it. And it's just, again, another reason why. And then Carla, says, I needed the vote. That's why I didn't do it. And it's either Warda or me. And then Warda and her almost like check in again in the middle of tribal. And then, Chappie, but still says your vote's useless, again, I'm very frustrated by that. And then she says she can bequeath the idol, but Warda and her decide that these boys are so stupid, which they are. What? She says, I actually don't want to bequeath it because I want to confuse them and I want to let them split the vote. Is this this is iconic.
She put the Boston Rob hat back on.
Yes.
Thought about this strategy. I was really impressed with Carla in tribal council. The way she kept pivoting, putting the target on other people and not being afraid to share her strategy. She didn't call Varda to the back to whisper about what to do. She proudly say that in front of everyone, which I think made everyone else be on edge a little.
Yep.
Because they didn't know who else was splitting their votes and where it was going to land. And if Carla is so confident to wear an idol that doesn't matter and not save her ally, something else is going on. What other advantages do they have? That's what I would have
Exactly.
Because that was delusional confidence, but I was so here for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 100% great TV. I loved it, but like things you say in your confessional and not out in public, idiot. And again, for Carla, things you say in confessional to say, I didn't use my idol because I want them to, confuse the boys. But wow, the chutzpah to just say it to their face and them still splitting the vote. Oh my
And
God.
something else that stood out to me from these interactions was when Chappies was saying, there's no trust, you don't
Oh,
have the
yeah.
circle of trust. And Varda says, no, we have trust. Like, we are aligned. And that stood
Yes.
out to me.
And
that
that's
they are so
giving
tight.
and that's giving like Santini a little bit, hopefully at least some like reassurance that, hey, like here's what's going on. And just giving her that like trust to be like, come with us. Ugh, it's just so hard. And then, but yeah, I think that's it. Because we get to vote. Anything else about tribal?
No.
Perfect. And then we get to vote, and I literally have it in my notes. The idiot split the votes. Why? Oh my God. Chappies, you literally had the blueprint of what the idol doesn't work. So you say, I want everyone to vote Carla. Y'all, we need to vote Carla. Boys, we need to vote Carla, or they will come for us. I don't know. I don't know if I missed this or what happened, but do you know who voted for whom?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, we'd love to hear it because what's
Smash
going on?
voted for Warda.
That's what happened. So he threw his vote.
He threw his vote on her, which I think made no sense.
Yep.
There's so many other targets you could have thrown your vote on. She's not going to be happy. Carla's not going to be happy.
And he's going to be honest about it. That's the problem.
And there's very few options. Who could he pin it off of? Would they know who Chappies voted for?
Yeah.
They know who Paul voted for.
Oh, do they? Oh, yeah, Carla, duh.
Because he was so vocal about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other people all voted for Paul.
Yeah.
Which I was impressed by Sean's game.
Sean. Mm-hmm.
He didn't waver at all. And I was curious that Chappies and Paul didn't try to like lure him to their side in tribal council.
That's what I'm saying. So they believed they had Santini, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And Anila, I guess. Santini and Anila is who they thought they were. But that's still 4. It's not like they still needed one more, correct? So that's why it's silly. If anything, you would have tied.
They were using the Brad Culpepper math, thinking that their 2 votes into 8 would give them the advantage.
Apparently, yes. Oh God,
So
I don't know. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, after they get back from tribal, I really hope we get a scene in the next episode where Chappies comes clean with his tribe and says, I am sorry. I am owning this misogynistic behavior. Let's move on. I am growing. This is a new day. This is a new tribe. Chaos Paul isn't here. I'm with you. And I think he still has a chance to move past this because he's such a physical competitor and he's such a good heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly. I hope so. I hope he goes to Santini, kisses the ring a little, tries to figure it out because I think that might be his way in. If he does that, but let's see. I really hope that. So, and then next time we get a Threeso versus Dino moment. What is that about? Because I thought they were so strong. Threeso. Yeah. What happened? So this is where maybe they lose immunity, or at least lose a reward. I don't know. Because they're winning everything right now. Yeah. So I'm hoping that I'm done with this tribe going all the time.
I am happy they've broken the curse of the orange buffed tribe.
Correct. Very much
so we love seeing that.
Yes. Oh my God, so true. I love that. Perfect. And that's the episode, everyone. I'm so excited for next week. Jason, do you have your threat list for us?
I do. The biggest people on my threat list that I'm watching right now from the women are still Santini at the top and Anesu, and I've added Carla to the list.
Yeah.
I think she's bringing it. She's someone to watch. From the men, I still have Tyson in my number 1 spot over there because I'm really picking up what he's putting down. I think he's going to go the distance, go really far in this game. I also now am updating the list.
Ooh.
To add Sean to it. I think he is building strong relationships. He's very well composed, even when he was turning into a superhero villain. He didn't freak out. And then the other man I want to add, who I still think has a good shot, is Rainier.
100%.
What about you? Who are you watching?
Yes, I think pretty similar to you. I would say actually Carla is pretty high. I think Anisu is actually not Anisu. oh my God, sorry. Santini, Anisu, and Carla are actually my top three. And then I would say for the men, it's actually Rainier still at number one. I think as in the men, I still see him as the most even keeled. And then Tyson. I actually don't have a number three. I don't see the other men. I can see Sean doing it, but I think he really needs to. Sean and Anella really need to do some wiggling and weaving. So then I can see that. So I want to like wait on those two. Like they're on the bench for me right now, but like deep bench. Like as in like they're next in line.
Well, let me ask you this question next then, because a quarter of the way in, 4 people have been eliminated so far. Who has surprised you the most?
Oh my God, 100%. Like Anisu, number one, because very much these are the people that you think are gonna go quickly, and Santini, of course. Like I said, we've talked about this before, but like the first boot like archetype is like killing it in Survivor South Africa, where even Theresa, right? Like even though she hasn't been in necessarily, knock on wood, but like a like hard situation yet, she's still like smart. She knows what's going on in the game. She like understands what the deal is. So I will say like the archetypal first boot making it so far, Kian, like really are amazing, and 3 out of 4 right have been men. So and that's amazing. And they get we're 50-50, I believe, at people of color. So which is fine, like not the worst. You know, it usually would have been Theresa, maybe Santini, and then you know, like Keon. Yeah, exactly. So like I said, that's what I'm loving about this, and those are the people that have surprised me. But Santini, we know, is like number one on this podcast.
Shout out Santini.
Again, as always, we love you. Love that. What about you? Do you have any like surprises?
The people that are surprising me the most, I do agree with a lot of the things you're saying. I think Santini is probably the biggest surprise because she's just dominating the game. And few people in her archetype play such dominant game styles this early on. But someone else that's actually really surprised me that I was not expecting is, and you're going to be surprised that I say this because I'm not that into her, but it's actually Nicole.
Oh, I can see it though. I see what you're saying.
I've been really surprised with her. I underestimated her. I thought she was just, joining this trio, maybe a girl band, not really giving anything to the season. But every time we see her, action is happening. She's winning a challenge. She's making a move. She has a negative comment to say about someone else, which I kind of like her attitude.
And she's put herself in a power position with the 3. I mean, granted, there is change now, but still, like, she's put herself in that power position. So I really do like that.
And we haven't heard anyone else, other than that one interaction with Theresa, say anything really bad about her. And I don't want to like judge, but I just anticipated we'd be hearing more negative comments from the other castaways about her, just based on my assumptions about her, which I am so glad to have been proven wrong.
No. Wow. Yeah, that's a really good point as well. Agreed. Big agree. Anything else, Jason, about this episode? Perfect. That is it for us. But before we go, Jason, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @TheRealJO, where I am tweeting about reality TV, Marvel shows, and the NBA playoffs. So if you want to talk about it, at me, slide into my DMs. People do just to talk about hoops. I'm serious.
I love that. We need a silent sport.
Do you hear that, Isaiah?
Here. Come on, Isaiah. At Isaiah. No, I'm just kidding. And for me, you can find me on Twitter @funsize_04, where I also tweet about basically the same things Jason does. So excited for Big Brother. It's coming up. Who do you think's on the rumored cast? I was on it for someone that's so funny to me. I really have made it, I feel. And you'll see me sometime this week on RHAP for the Too Hot to Handle podcast with Kirsten. So excited, as she says, to talk about hot dummies on islands. So you can find me there. And before we leave, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and share this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, please follow us. We're really trying to get our views up, and subscribe, of course, for more content on reality TV, scripted TV, anime, movies, and more. You name it, we got it. And tell us what more we should be doing. And with that, thank you so much, everyone, for joining another great podcast. Bye, everyone.